is connected to several people. Some are younger at heart. But we, having heard of solutions, having talked about choice making, we have to affect and be in effect with our sphere of influence. Social justice really begins with us. We have it within us. I don't know if anybody's told you, but you are somebody. Have people told you that? I know my grandma told me like every day, girl, you are somebody. Now this is during the 60s when civil rights movement was huge, and I moved from my neighborhood in the hood to an all-white community. And it was difficult. It was difficult when they were building our home, first of all, that we were building our home. And written on the wood slats of the frame of the house before the walls were even up, N-word, go home. There was stuff, dog stuff left, eggs, and I was saying to my parents, why are we moving there? And my mom told me, because we can. And because our money's green, just like their money's green. And I thought, okay, right. Because at this point, I'm 10. And I need you to know that sometimes we're faced with not just people from the other colors of the world, but some of us are mean to us. Because I was happy when I got there that I lived across the street from a judge. And the judge's children knew they were somebody too. And because they helped us, they didn't act like, oh, who are you coming over here? Your parents, you got a blue-collar worker and a teacher. You're not of our status. They didn't act like that. They didn't claw in a crab basket. They lent a hand and pulled us in. And sometimes we don't do that for each other. Sometimes we don't celebrate each other. We want to be mad together. It's easy to light that fire and make us mad at each other, mad at the other person. But when it comes time to celebrate each other, we don't always do that. So a lot of stuff begins with us. So we're here today because we're in the room with not just hearing the problems, but being part of the solution. And if you believe that you can be a part of the solution, I really do want you to slip your hand up. If you believe that you are significant, valued, important, helpful, and meaningful to somebody else besides you, because hopefully you're meaningful to you, because it starts with you, because that's not true for everyone. Everyone does not value themselves. But I have to believe, because you came today, that you just value you and you value the opportunities to make change and to be a part of that. Now you might have come and said, I want to hear what they have to say about what they're going to do to make a change. But they put it back on us. We are a part of the change. We are important, valuable. We're important. We're valuable. We are part of a solution. We're solution oriented. We are risk takers. We are entrepreneurs. We are community mentors. And if you don't see yourself that way, get a mirror later and say, I am part of the solution. And then let me see how I can get to work. A couple questions that we did get. This one I think is really something we don't always think about. How do we speak or pour into the youth that aren't looking for safe spaces? How, as a community, do we help those children to go in the right direction? Everybody's not looking for that. Everybody doesn't want, they don't know they need a safe space, or they don't want one. Anybody have any thoughts on that from the panel?
I won't be long because, I certainly believe in meeting people where they are, and the children especially, because they are sponges, right? You just have to show them something else, right? Like, and I realized this when I first started the defender's office. We have a form interview, and there's literally 3 questions that say, tell me 5 things you want the judge to know about you, not about the case, and what are your goals or whatever. But when you ask the person, 3 things about themselves other than the case, these men could not, grown men could not answer the question. And I realized it's because people aren't pouring positivity into them. They only address and identify them when they've made a mistake. And that happens from children on up. And so I just think that, first of all, I certainly, I think that we are way more unified than the world wants us to believe. We know this. I have this in my pocket right now. I always wear social justice button. And I intended to wear this one I got for my birthday called 92%. We have to remember, women, 92% of us voted to save democracy, and we knew that this was going to happen, even when everybody else didn't. I will tell you, one of the most hurtful things for me, during the election, I campaigned, and I went to work 2 evenings and stuffed envelopes so that we could send voter registration ballots to the jails and help people that are in custody actually register to vote. When I went back to follow up with the people that I represented, they all registered to vote, but they all registered to vote for Trump. Okay? Okay? Yes, okay? So I will say though, one thing I am aware of, with women, supporting women, we do that, ladies. We do that. Even if it's from just a little girl, you looking good today, or this and that. So don't let people think that we are as divided as it seems. That aside, my suggestion is just take these children and show them something different. Yeah. That's my suggestion.
I think the interesting thing about the way you phrase that the prompt is that presuming that a child goes and does promiscuous or dangerous things, is presuming that they're not still seeking safety, they're still a human. So all humans still want to be safe in some regard. It's just your definition of safety is different from that person's definition of safety. So say for instance, I'm on a block and I'm by myself and those guys look strong and they're in power, I may associate with those guys because they're strong and they can provide me with safety. These other women who dress like me, if I'm a woman, that is, and they dress and they're all the same, you're going to get safety in that group. Even though that group is doing something crazy and dangerous, right? So we can't presume that safety and positivity are one and the same. Safety is safety, right? So we just look at that. So we're talking about meeting people where they are. I go to the hood. I want to talk to the OG on the block because he controls what safety looks like in that arena, right? I need to find out how do I talk to him so he'll talk to the little homie, right? We need to meet people where they are. If they're envisioning hallucinations or what have you, I need to meet you where you are to bring you back to some sense of relevance, and we can find a new definition of safety. And how do we rewire that, right? So safety is relative everywhere we go. But we have to understand, we have to meet people where they are. And we can't be afraid to go to the block. You can't be afraid to go to the trap house. You can't be afraid to go across the aisle to meet with other people, right? That's where safety really lies, and being uncomfortable to make someone else comfortable, okay? That's what protection really looks like. So I don't look for where people are comfortable, because y'all are comfortable here for a little bit. Hopefully I made you uncomfortable when we address some of the things, Because that's where we really can start to do the work. That's where the real safety comes about. So that's where I look at it, right? I don't have a problem going and having those conflicting conversations. I don't mind the smoke. I actually look, that's what we should be. My father was a firefighter. He ran to the smoke, and he instilled that in me. I love the smoke. In every regard that you can think of, I want it. I'll look for the conflict so that we can resolve. Let's get right to it, okay? Let's talk about it. And let's talk about things that you don't even know that you want to talk about. As a social worker, as a case manager, as a case, all my other DCP people in here, we know we have uncomfortable conversations with people, and I'm not leaving. And I'm going to have it right here in your house, right here with you, and we're going to work this out together. And if my wife was here, she would say that, and that's what we do at home as well. And I don't like having those conversations. But she and I, we all work together to be stronger so we can have and sit in that pain so we can get to the happy place. All right, so that's I say that in jest, but we have to meet people where they are. We meet them when they're only smiling and doing great, and we've missed an opportunity to help them get to a higher level, in my opinion, that is.
Another question. How do we support our youth in their creativity when it doesn't match our current view of the world? And how do we find better ways to communicate across those generations to help them grow and express their greatness? Anybody want?
Can we just start by being honest with the youth about our imperfections when we were their ages? I think we all get a certain age, or we feel this obligation to look so fragile and safe, and it's not okay. I do know in Philadelphia, where I practice, there's a lot of nonprofit programs erecting community houses. They had rap studios in these houses and all kinds of things for these children. Because guess what? They're not listening to the stuff they were listening to, right? And we have to embrace what they see as creative. I was born in the 70s, right? My music is not the same as theirs. But guess what? I have no choice but to listen to their music because they make all these rap videos. I wish they would stop using guns in these rap videos because the government has whole units that just survey social media to see who's brandishing guns, and they don't even have to be real guns for you to end up in court. All that being said, these children are beyond creative. We have to let them be their own people. I think Oprah said it best many years ago. Parents, we have to accept that there comes a point where we're no longer the pilot. We have to literally just sit in the passenger seat and let them drive, right? Just hopefully guiding them not to crash. So we have to accept that what was cool and is cool for us is not the same for them. And again, I'll say it again, stop othering them. Stop othering them. Oh, that's that generation. Oh, well, you know, these young people. No. We weren't doing the same thing that our parents were doing back in the day. Let's just stop it. But kids, I agree with you, Sora. I'm getting there. Be mindful of your digital footprint. Everything that you place on social media you can't remove it. It's being followed. These colleges, these organizations that before they even read your essays, they're going to look at your social media platforms. Do like I have to do because I used to be real political on social media. I've calmed down a lot now, but revisit your own page, and because the stuff that I posted 6 months to a year ago, that's not even me anymore. So I spend a lot of time deleting old posts. So just stay engaged and stay vigilant and stay mindful on what you're putting out there on social media, please.
I'll add, our youth have very beautiful minds, and their creativity is out of this world. Just recently at our NAACP 116th National Convention in Charlotte, we were able to witness just how beautiful our EXO students are with their creativity and how beautiful their minds are. We were able to witness the award ceremonies and how integrated they already are into things such as STEM and engineering and creativity and the arts. So I think as adults, it's beautiful for us to embrace them in their creativity. It's beautiful for us to encourage them to continue to be and create careers. It's beautiful for us to provide pathways where they can continue to expand on their creativity. I think that and I wouldn't be a true NAACP member if I didn't encourage any youth that's in the room and everyone in the room to join the NAACP, to be in these spaces and bring a youth representative with you. Because our youth is way more experienced than just posting and being the social media chair and just managing social media for organizations and businesses and companies. They have actual minds that contribute a lot, and their perspectives are needed in these rooms, in these spaces. So yes, join the NAACP. You can join at naacp.org and bring a youth representative with you. Bring 2 or 3 youth representatives with you, so that way you can continue to reach back into the other generations and bring them forward with you.
Thoughts on the school to prison pipeline? Now listen, wait a minute. We'll be here till 9 o'clock. Okay. So.
I yield my time.
But any thoughts on that? Because possibly some of the things that we do as a community now, and if somebody's volunteering in the school now and having impact in the school now, we can prevent some of that. But I yield to you. Whoever wants to touch on their thoughts on obliterating it, stopping it, school to prison pipeline.
Well, I think the first thing that we have to understand is the formula that goes from school to prison isn't just from our community. There are eyes on us that look at us as being bad and inherent. With respect to the school to prison population, the economic circumstances that we have now is responsible for that. That may be an objective factor, but it's real and it's vital. A lot of kids see, he's got this, he's got that, and they want it, they go get it without paying for it. I'm not so certain that there's a formula that is going to be foolproof for us to not like things. As I'm looking around the room, I see some really, really nice dressed people here. So we've got nice jewelry on. Man's got those Jordans right there you got on there. You see? So from youth to youth, we always are going to like stuff. Some of us will get it legitimately. Some of us will use illegal means to obtain it. I think that the only thing that you can do is to make a person understand that what you own is not what you are. You can be special without stuff. Yeah. I didn't get my first pair until I was in high school. Everybody was wearing, I was wearing the sneakers that my mom got for the AP, but once I got a job. But the one thing that I had, I never felt bad not having, because at home, I got a lot of love. And even though I didn't have a lot of things, believe it or not, I felt special. Even though I didn't have on the sneaks like those, I felt just as good as he did. Plus, I was a better athlete than most of the people in my community anyway, so that helped a little bit too. But things in us, it's always going to be that way that people are going to measure you by what you have, as opposed to what you are. I mean, who in here, when somebody pulls up in a nice car, you don't get like a second look? And you look at your car, and you look at your income, and you say, I'm not going to do it. But then there's some people that go buy houses and cars and things that they can't afford, just to be in the know, that I want to be a part of that. That all is relevant to your spiritual convictions. The only thing that's important in this life, and I hope I don't offend anybody, is God. And trying to all of the, and don't get it twisted, I have some things too. And I'll be honest with you, I bought some, as I was coming here, I bought some shoes. I bought the shoes like 4 years ago, never even wore them. I have not bought a suit in the last 7 years because I had clothes that were in my closet that I never wore, and it took that, but just so that you understand why I got them, because I grew up poor, and I never had. So I went and got it, and now it's still sitting in the closet. That was my life lesson. That I'm not measured by what I own, where I live, or how I am. That's what you have to instill in people, especially at a young age. Your stuff doesn't make who you are. It doesn't define who you are. It's hard to communicate that to a child because they live in that peer pressure. It was easier for me because my mother couldn't afford to buy me Converses and the like. So I had to wear the sneakers that she got out of the A&P card. So as I got older, things didn't matter to me. And I'm dressed up now, but if you ever see me in the mall, all I wear is dungarees and sneakers and t-shirts. That's all I wear. None of that stuff doesn't matter to me. So that was a lesson, and I'm not suggesting that growing up poor is a good thing. But it certainly gives you a real 20/20 vision of life. How stuff does not matter. You are not what you own. If you're special inside, you're special outside. That's what we need to remember. And that's what we need to teach our kids. And I'm honestly believing, I'll pass the mic on. People get diplomas and degrees and awards. Those things don't make you either. If you don't love your fellow man or your fellow community, and you don't come back and reach to them, in my eyes, you're not that valuable to me. Those people that help, and I'm looking around the room and there was somebody sitting in the back, and I don't mind saying, I grew up without a lot of things, and when I played dolphin football, they bought all my equipment for me. And so that's why I'm so committed to kids now that were similarly situated when I came up. That if I could do anything for them, that's what I do. Not because I owe, but because it's the right thing to do, whether it happens to you or not. Because as human beings, and especially as people that were brought to this country under conditions, and we worked ourselves up to now. You see all the people up here, nicely dressed and everything now. We worked ourselves up now, but the circumstance of how we're perceived has not changed much. We have to take care of us. And each and every one of you there should be committed to doing that. And it doesn't take a lot all the time. But you should be committed. And as I look around the room, and there were some people in here that every time I see them, I almost want to pass the mic. I almost get choked up because they helped me to get over the hump. So the final word is, we all owe each other, help each other, and we'll survive. We wouldn't have made it here if we hadn't helped each other. But keep that at the forefront.
Not to be redundant, but I'm going to refer back to what I said earlier about how important it is for us to be involved in our children's lives daily. I know we work, and some of our schedules are, really crazy, and makes it really difficult, to do the things that probably are needed for our children. But we not only should it start at home, we want it to start at home, right? And then for those households that we know, may not necessarily have, the picture perfect mother and father situation, or whether it be just one parent, that's when we come into it. All of us, neighbors, police officers, educators, whatever walk of life you may come from, we have to
to the best of our ability. You know, sometimes we can't be intrusive, sometimes people just don't want it. But that's minimal. Most times these kids are crying out for love, hence why they're acting out. Right? I can't tell you I've been on this job 26 years. I cannot tell you it is most times worked in my favor when I stay on a kid, when I don't let them off of these kids, and I'm like, you know, you don't have to go travel down this road. I believe in you. Those words have power. Trust me when I tell you, I believe in you. They need to hear that. They want to hear that. They're not getting that. They also want structure. Yes. Believe it or not, even for the ones, because I want to make sure I'm referring, I'm staying with the topic. I think we're talking about those. Is this the question where the kids don't necessarily want? Oh no, this is the pipeline question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just had to touch on that anyway. But you know, for those that may not, as stated earlier, want the structure, they want it. They want it. You just have to know how to go about, you know, connecting with these kids. And, you know, sometimes they're like, I don't talk to cops. I don't like cops. Get out of here, swallow. Get out of here, pig. You know, whatever it is. Like, you know, you build that tough skin towards that. But for me, I'm born and raised here. I care. When I was in patrol, when I worked in community policing, those are some of the best years I had. I connected, I also taught a program in the schools. But it was gang resistance. It was a gang resistance program. I can't think of the acronym right now. Gang resistance education, great. Gang resistance education and training. And and it wasn't talking about gangs actually. It was just trying to teach the kids, you know, to stay involved and to clean your neighborhood. You may live in a neighborhood that looks, you know, dirt. Let's use the village, for example, because these kids could not believe when I took the stories I had from them about the village. My grandmother lived in the second village, which we didn't even refer to the first, second, third village back in the day, but anyway, she lived in the second village, and we used to have picnics and things of that sort, which, you know, at some point, you know, maybe even now, still now, you wouldn't even imagine your kids sitting on the grass that was well manicured, still had the chains that you would bust your behind on, you know, self-correcting. You fall one time, even in pitch black, you know, evening, you knew where those chains were. You got to jump them. We climbed the trees. We laid out blankets. We did had little picnics and things like that. It did help them. My dad had a grocery store, so yeah, we'll go with a bunch of candy and you know, snacks and things like that. But these are the things, kids were, first of all, outside playing, not sitting in the house on these games, and I don't necessarily fully oppose these games, because these kids are making a lot of money. Some, you know, nowadays, you know, the gamers, you know, these, you know, that's a profession now, right? But we have to be involved, and if it's not happening in the home, those of us that are on the outside of the homes that are observing that these children need love, need care, you know, need some pouring into, we have to take responsibility for that.
This is in support of everything that was said by both of you. One thing I noticed working with the juveniles, the parents were a big problem. I remember my very first client, his mother, and he was 12, mother and the stepfather, they wanted to go to Chicago to party for the holidays. And what they decided to do, they planted vitamin pills in his room and marijuana and called the police and said that he was selling drugs out of the house. Fortunately, the police knew better and did not arrest him. But the parents decided, they came into court the next listing with a bunch of disciplinary actions. They all looked made up, and they persuaded the judge to arrest their child on these disciplinary actions, and they went to party in Chicago for the holidays. So yes, parenting is the problem. As far as the prison, the school to prison pipeline, I did a whole talk on this, but that junior defenders thing, I won't go into full detail, but they took third grade test scores, and that's how they erect these prisons, right? And so when we know that is based on lack of education, we have to be more hyper-vigilant about educating ourselves. I suggest to children all the time, when you're scrolling social media and you come across an article or something, and it has the option to click the video or actually read the article, read the article. Because I actually enjoy reading, and so it's actually fun, and it's a practice for you as well, right? And to go with games, we are on the same page with this so hard. I hate Grand Theft Auto. It has romanticized stealing cars, and the overwhelming majority of the cases that I had to try during that 6 months was stolen car cases. I don't understand it because they can't even afford to gas it up. So after you drive around a city that has great public transportation anyway, you know, what are you doing? And I know it's a problem because I represented a kid. We were fighting the stolen car case. He left court after this hearing and stole a car out in front of the courthouse. Right? So please just stop. Just stop. Don't. Yes, it's a designed, well-oiled machine, but you don't have to participate willingly.
I would take a different approach. I think a lot of the tone that we're talking about is a traditional school to a traditional incarceration of some sort of prison, of bars and bullets and whatnot. As we have progressed as a community, the prison is not just the jailhouse anymore, right? It may be mental health. It may be a disrespect for women. It may be drugs. There are lots of other prisons besides going to jail, right? The schools, if we're talking about really changing the culture in the community, we have to identify the other prisons out there, right? You can suffer and die right on the street. You don't have to go to jail to do that. You can live and do a lot more damage walking these streets in prison, in your own mind, or in a relationship, or as a parent. And now you've incarcerated your own children into your madness, right? So we're not talking about those things, right? We're leaving the social entities to deal with those other social problems. We're focusing on criminal justice, but criminal justice is a social problem, right? Domestic violence is not a criminal issue, that is a social issue, right? There are lots of people who do lots of damage in the community that are not in jail, but they are in prison. And we're not talking to them about how to be a better listener as a child in 3rd grade, right? Look, we should talk about that in 3rd grade. Math and arithmetic is great, reading is amazing, but if you can't listen, and if you don't respect people, then it's irrelevant, right? If you can't contend with your emotions, your pain, your grief, your anger, then it's irrelevant. All of it is irrelevant. I don't care if you know 1,000 facts, if you can't contend with who you are and what you are, you will wreak havoc with the information that you gain.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to look at all of the other prisons that fill the jail. Right? We need to look at when the people come out of jail and they're still in prison and they can't get a job. That is